Hi, thank you for joining me. My name is Dominique Jones. I'm going to be presenting for you today an SEL proposal for Council Oak Elementary. We're going to be sticking to the following agenda, starting with some current demographic data for Council Oak, the vision statement and whole child approach, some current SEL practices, and then some relevant data sources that are going to show and some information that are indicating a need for a shift in SEL practice. Those are going to be followed by our SEL proposal, which includes specified student outcomes, our plan and timeline, and then our impact, which ties us back to our vision and values. So let's get to know Council Oak. Council Oak Elementary School is located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We currently serve 501 students, grades pre-K through fifth grade. And while I've included several data points about our demographic distribution at Council Oak, the one that I wanted to highlight for you today that is most informing the work that we are needing to do is how we are racially balanced. So 54.88% of our students identify as, and that's followed by 20.16% of our students identifying as multiracial. 10.98% of our students identify as African American, and 7.39% of our students are in the Latinx community. Our vision for Council Oak states that we nurture a lifelong passion for learning, driven by curiosity and exploration, centered around the whole child. I wanted to embolden the whole child because the whole child approach to learning has really not only been at the center of our academic pedagogy, but also how we approach SEL practice at Council Oak. So when we look at this slide or how we're nurturing the whole child, at Council Oak, we've sought to use some um, elements from both the Castle framework and the Fry, Fisher, and Smith integrated SEL model to develop a unique and responsive SEL plan that aligns with our vision and our values. So the Castle SEL framework is on the left. It centers social emotional learning and has 5 domains that make up the concept of SEL for Castle. These domains start in classrooms and gradually branch out in communities. Similarly, the Fry, Fisher, and Smith integrated model also have 5 domains that are closely aligned with the Castle framework, and those would be agency and identity, emotional regulation, cognitive regulation, social skills, and public spirit. So, how's Council Oak currently supporting SEL? Well, under the domain of social awareness, we do have explicit SEL lessons and content that are being taught school-wide on Fridays while our teachers are at their district mandated data planning meetings. Under self-management, every communal space in the school has access to a calming basket and a designated calming space that was initiated by our Dean of Climate and Culture. Students are also supposed to be informed at the beginning of the year on how and when to use these tools for regulation. And for relationship skills, community circles are implemented throughout the school to build meaningful relationships between our teachers and our students. Where we see some disconnect between our current practices and a need for a shift is in the following data points. You're currently looking at a slide showing some data from our Panorama survey. Our Panorama survey is given to our third through fifth graders twice per year, once in the fall and once in the spring. And they're presented questions in the categories of school safety, self-management, sense of belonging, social awareness, and supportive relationships. And to give you some context on the scoring that typically happens for Council Oak, within these categories, we're usually within the 70th to 79th percentile overall. I pulled these 3 specific questions because when analyzing these as an administrative team, these kind of brought us cause for concern because they were far off from what we're typically scoring. So the first question I wanted to highlight was, how often are people disrespectful to others at your school? This was our lowest favorable rating overall at only 43%. And it was only down 1, though, from the last time the students took the survey. The next question was, during the past 30 days, how clearly were you able to describe your feelings? This only garnished a 55% favorable rating, But what was eye opening for our team was that it was down 10 points from the last time the children took the survey. And finally, during the past 30 days, how often did you remain calm, even when someone was bothering you or saying bad things? This had a 49% favorable response rating, but again, eye opening that it's down 7 points from the last time the children took the survey. And across these three questions, we gleaned that data is showing that our students are seeing a decrease in peer relations and empathy for others, as well as their ability to clearly communicate their emotions and their ability to manage those emotions when they are heightened during certain peer interactions. So then we look to the next data point, our disciplinary data. So what you're currently looking at is our 2024-2025 referral data. Across the school building, 116 total referrals have been submitted this school year. But when breaking those down into certain infractions, we noticed that by far, the number one infraction we're seeing is unacceptable minor physical contact. Well, this led us to correlate with our panorama survey because research shows that aggression in children can be a manifestation of underlying negative emotions like fear, insecurity, or frustration, especially when they're struggling to express those feelings or regulate their emotions. This also surfaced another unique problem that we noticed within our data points. So if you look at the highlighted box, across the school, 48 referrals were for unacceptable minor physical contact, and that included 25 individual children. When digging more deeply with our demographic data, we noticed that 11 of those referrals and 7 of those children identified as African American students. And of those African American students, 5 of them and 8 of the referrals were students in grades 3 through 5. That's 20% of our overall students who are being referred for unacceptable minor physical contact. And we have the data that supports that these children are telling us that they are struggling to stay calm during heightened situations and being able to name what they're feeling. So, this led us to think of considerations on how we can grow our SEL practice. And first, we wanted to acknowledge some strengths. So, through our data, it's very clear that there's an opportunity for us to strengthen our practice and reevaluate our structures and systems around SEL so that they'll more deeply align with our vision and create the biggest impact for our students. So, for one, we feel like we're strong and knowledgeable in our base for SEL resources and capacity building as a staff. And two, we have data driven and research systems ready to go to support all of the SEL domains that we have. Where we saw our areas of focus were in these three areas. One, we need a restructured SEL plan to include specified SEL goals and a needed vision statement that's centering equity and cultural competency. Number two, we see a need for embedded and explicit SEL practices that are going to utilize a common language to identify, name, and process feelings and emotions. And three, we need embedded and explicit SEL practices to regulate emotions and resolve conflict. When approaching the selection of our plan, these were the guiding questions that helped us perform this work. Number one, we had to ask ourselves, what is our collective understanding of and commitment to equity in our school community? Number two, how might reframing SEL through an equity lens help us be more culturally competent and responsive to our students? And finally, how can integrating SEL throughout the curriculum, along with building relationships and supporting teachers, increase student achievement? And using these guiding questions and referring back to our Castle framework, we found just a program and some actions that we can take to help us get to the specified goals. Here are the outcomes and the tools that we're going to be implementing to be where we need to be. Number one, we need a clear and equitable SEL vision and school vision established for the 2025-2026 school year. Number two, we want our staff and students to be well versed in the Yale Ruler program practice of using a mood meter to identify and communicate their emotions. Number three, with the support of an SEL team and our staff, students are going to be using embedded and explicitly taught SEL practices such as the Yale Ruler Blueprint to help with facilitated conflict resolution. Four, we want to have ongoing targeted professional development, reflective practices, and community engagement opportunities that are centered around cultural competency, using the CASTLE framework for promoting equity through SEL. And finally, number five, we want our data to show a measured increase in favorable responses regarding the five categories within our Panorama survey, and a measured decrease in referrals, specifically for unwanted physical contact. With these outcomes in mind, this is the plan and the timeline of how we're going to roll this out, and it starts right now. So in May of 2025, we're going to establish an SEL team within our staff and key stakeholders. This team, being led by our Dean of Climate and Culture, will establish an updated vision for SEL and an updated overall vision for the Council Oak community. In June of 2025, we're planning for our SEL team to meet and create focus groups made up of students, families, and community partners of the school. And those groups will be providing additional data around the needs of our community to inform SEL goals for the following school year. When our teachers come back in August of 2025, this SEL team is going to be providing professional development around identity and cultural competency. Our staff will also be norming on both the SEL and school visions, creating SMART goals for embedding SEL throughout the curriculum and not just teaching it in isolation. For clarity, when we talk about SMART goals for SEL, this is an acronym we use that inform us to specific, measurable, attainable, results-oriented, and time-bound goals. In September through December of 2025, our SEL team and staff are going to be supporting students in naming their feelings using the Ruler Mood Meter practice and utilizing learned strategies for conflict resolution from the Ruler Blueprint. Our SEL team will be scheduling co-teaching opportunities throughout the building to help support our teachers in embedded SEL implementation. And our ongoing practice is going to be that our SEL team and our staff are going to be progress monitoring our SMART goals via our Panorama surveys, school created surveys for family and community partners, observations and walkthroughs, as well as a weekly check-in during those staff data planning meetings, collaborating to be sure to include SEL practices within the curriculum. With these SMART measurable goals in place and a timeline and a team, this is the impact that we're hoping to achieve. We want our vision to come to life through an SEL plan that is grounded in equity and the CASTLE framework. We're aiming to create a school where every student feels valued and empowered to take ownership of their emotions, their choices, and their relationships. And by teaching research-based, CASTLE-aligned strategies for self-awareness, emotional regulation, and conflict resolution, we're equipping students with the tools to navigate challenges with both confidence and compassion. In doing this work, we're fostering a learning environment where curiosity grows, voices are honored, and every student is prepared to thrive both in school and beyond. So I thank you so much for hearing our proposal and for your partnership in doing this work. I plan to stick around for any questions you may have and appreciate you very much. Thank you.